Alright, welcome to a lesson on graphing in slope-intercept form. So we're going to be graphing in slope-intercept form. First, we probably want to know what slope-intercept form is, or what slope is. So, slope, we say equals m. So if you see the letter m, it means slope. Slope is rise over run. Now, I know that doesn't make a lot of sense now, but it will in a little bit. So, slope-intercept form is this y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So in order to graph in slope-intercept form, we need a slope and a intercept, specifically the y-intercept. So what we're going to do here for examples 1 and 2 is we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So number 1. We're going to identify what m equals and what b equals. So we look up at our slope-intercept form, and it's y equals mx plus b. So our slope, our m, is always by our x. And right now it is 1/2. And our b is the thing that's after the x. So it's this entire thing after the x. If there's a negative sign with it, keep the negative sign there. So our b is a -2. So I want you to look over here now. Number 2, y minus 2x equals 4. We have kind of an issue right now because it's not in slope-intercept form. So what we need to do is make it be in slope-intercept form. For it to be in slope-intercept form, the y has to be by itself. So what we need to do is we need to move this -2x. So to move a minus 2x, we're going to add 2x. And you'll notice I didn't line up the 4 and the plus 2x, because as you know from previous lessons, we can't combine numbers and letters, so these are two separate things, so I'm going to keep them separated. So I'm going to rewrite it as y equals 2x plus 4. So our m is 2, and our y-intercept, our b, is 4. Here on the next page, we're going to do some more of that identification. So I'm going to do the left side, and I want you to try the right side. So I'm going to do the left side, and you try the right side. So on the left, first we have y equals 3/4 x plus 1. So it's already in slope-intercept form, so we can identify our m, and our m is 3/4, and our y-intercept is 1. On the bottom we have 2x minus y equals 5. Now it's not in slope-intercept form, so we need to make it look like y equals mx plus b. So the first thing to do, move this 2x. And again, it's a positive 2x, so we're going to subtract 2x. We're still doing the opposite. We're not going to line up our 5 and our minus 2x. These cancel, and we're just going to rewrite. So negative y equals -2x plus 5. This negative stays with our 2, and this 5 is a positive, so it stays positive. Now the thing that is very easy to do is to forget on this side, there's that negative symbol with the y. It does not leave unless you make it leave. So it sticks with the y until we make it leave. Now it's not just a negative y, it's a -1y. So we need to get rid of a -1. It's being multiplied, so we're going to divide by -1. And for these, when you multiply or divide on either side, you're going to multiply or divide everything by that number. So I'm going to divide everything by -1. So I'm left with y, because those cancel. 2 negatives makes it a positive 2x minus 5. So our m is 2, and our y-intercept is -5. So what I want you to do now is I want you to pause the video and try the examples on the right. Just go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, pause the video again and check your answers with the answers that I got. If you got something wrong, you need to ask if you can't figure it out on your own. Now we're actually going to get into the graphing part in slope-intercept form. So you've already been graphing in input-output tables, so now we're going to graph another way. So there's 4 steps to graph in slope-intercept form. First step is make sure it is in slope-intercept form. That's what we were doing before. Second step is identify the M and the B. Hey, we know how to do that too. So we've got 2 of these 4 steps down. The next 2 is actually putting it on a graph, which is step 3, where we plot B, the y-intercept. So we're going to plot whatever number B is on the y-axis. Step 4 is we're going to use our slope to plot 2 more points, then draw a line. And steps 3 and 4 are going to make a lot more sense here in a second when we actually do some examples. So, example 1, y equals 1/2 x minus 1. So, step 1 is to make sure it's in slope-intercept form. Step 1, it is in slope-intercept form. So it's our y equals 1/2 x minus 1. Step 2, identify m and b. So our m is 1/2, and our b is -1. 3 is to plot our b. So our b is -1, so it's our y-intercept. So it's on the y-axis. So we're going to go -1 on the y-axis. And we're going to put a dot at -1 on the y-axis. I'm going to use red for this, so you can see the difference. 4 is to use your m. So we use our slope, and our slope is 1/2. If you remember from the beginning of the video, slope is rise over run. So we're going to go +1 up, and we're going to go +2 to the right. So if you think about when we look at our graph, positive for rise is up, negative is down. For running, positive is to the right, negative is to the left. So from our -1 on our graph, we're going to go up 1, right 2, put a dot. And from that new dot, we're going to go up 1, right 2 again. So from the new dot, you go up 1, right 2 again. You follow the slope. It's going to be a constant. Then we draw our line. So there we go. Example 2. We have 2x plus y equals 3. Step 1, make sure it's in slope-intercept form. Well, it's not. We don't have that y by itself. So we have to get y by itself like we previously did. We're going to move that 2x. We get y equals -2x plus 3. 2. Identify our b, our y-intercept, and our slope, our m. So m equals -2. But here's the deal. We don't want to have just a number like this for our slope. We want it to be a fraction. So if your slope is ever just a number, you have to put that number over 1. Our intercept is 3. And you'll see why we do that in a second, if you haven't realized it already. 3, our b is 3. So on our graph, we are going to put a dot at 3 on the y-axis. On the y-axis. Your first dot will always go on that y-axis, that up and down line. Okay, finally we're going to use our slope. Our slope is -2/1. The reason we use that over 1 is that rise over run deal. We need to know how far we're running, and that fraction tells us. So, it's a -2, so we're going to go 2 to the left, and it's a 1, so we're going to go 1 up. Whoops, sorry. our rise is -2, so we're going to go down 2, and our run is 1, so we're going to go to the right 1. Sorry about that. So from our original B, from that 3, we're going to go down 2, right 1, down 2 from that new point, right 1. And then we connect our dots with a line. Okay. So for this final example, I want you to try that on your own by pausing the video. It is a little difficult. Give it a shot. Then play the video again to see if you got it right. Find your mistakes if you got it wrong. So go ahead and pause the video now. Alright, and here's the solution to that problem. Go ahead and pause the video again. Check your answer. Hopefully you got it right. If you didn't, find out where you went wrong. If you have questions on what you did wrong, please ask. So this is the end of the video after you do that.